Okay, so the most obvious thing is the horizontal front forks, and which immediately created the problem that because they face forwards, the natural tendency is for them to flip backwards, which is, in other words, like a caster wheel. And so, having created the idea or thought of the idea that Rudge wanted an equivalent model, something that they could sell to the ladies effectively, like the quadrant, you then end up with a supplementary head, which is the pivot point for the forks, and an arm coming from the forks going backwards, which is joined to this slider, which sits in these forks that way, which are come down from the main steerer, which cheats the horizontal forks to think that they're actually trailing, because the pivot point is behind the steering centre. Just to finish off the idea, they also added a self-centering device so that wherever it went, steered left or right, it is helped by that flat on the head clip effectively, which pushes it back to the middle.
You do that again.
So you've also got the great idea that it's a tricycle that's made for ladies in 1887, 8, 9. Ladies then had big frocks, and because the wheels, it's actually quite upright and tight, it's quite narrow from front to back, they came up with this ingenious knuckle joint, which means that you can, a bit like what was called the Fat Man steering wheel in the 1920s on American cars, you can crack the forks forwards like that, which allows you to get in or mount the tricycle and then bring the forks back, and there you're ready for the off.
And that's the retaining clip.
And that's the retaining clip, which just sits on a little pip on the steerer. It was originally fitted with a band brake at the rear end. Unfortunately, that's missing. The lever is there, but this would have had a bell crank on there.
Oh.
So as that goes forwards, that would have gone up, would have gone down to a fitting there with another bell crank, which as that went up, it would have pulled, so like a banana shape, like a boomerang shape, that way, or that way, there we go, and would have come up here. This fitting, this bronze fitting here, is the anchor for the band brake. So you can see where it was originally riveted. The band would have gone round to the top, and the rod would come and tighten the band up.
Okay, what's this?
This is the back. So these two, this one is actually in the wrong place. It should be there. These are the two supports for a chain guard, because it was a ladies' machine, which originally would have been fitted and bolted. This is for adjusting the chain. So inside this supplementary tube here is a plug with a bolt hole. This bolt goes through the support arms, and you can tighten it up, and it slides. There's a slot underneath here that you can't see, so you can slide the support up and down. Again, the saddle spring, which has got this lovely snail, like a humber really, on the back, is adjustable up and down. This T-piece from the seat pillar is actually a channel, and the two bolts here, it's the heads that are in the channel, and you can slacken those off and move the actual saddle spring up and down to make it comfortable.
Okay, so what do we need on the
this is
cranks?
all reasonably sound, if a bit elderly. The only this what is effectively a cone, Rudge bearings have one either side, which you can adjust to get them right. This one is broken in 3 pieces. The others are all intact, but they are elderly. The cranks are in very, very bad condition, but they're quite important for this machine and Rudges of this period, because it's the first time, and they called them Rudge's detachable cranks. Prior to this, they were cranks were keyed on. And now what I don't know is if Rudges were one of the first to use a cotter pin, but they certainly made a song and dance about it in their publicity. So as you can see, they're knackered, absolutely knackered, but they have this, they're not straight, they do a dog leg at the back, at the bottom end, so they would go on there, and but they need obviously replacing or remaking.
So is that the original Rudge pedal?
Yes, yes, it is. Well, I presume it is. Yes, but it's quite a simple. It's not as it's not as sexy as those other ones we were looking at.
So these are the ones you.
Those are, yes, they're a fairly lumpen reproduction, but they could be made to work, I would have thought.
And then you got the
yeah. So those are the original tubes. I had the rear tube replaced when I had the bearings made, and they still have the original footrests on them, which would sit in the middle of these two sides, and that's for should an athletic gentleman want to ride the machine, could mount from the back. It's I think, I forget, did we say these are 42s or 44s? I've forgotten.
I thought you said 40.
No, they're bigger than 40s, but it gives you an idea of the sort of size of the front wheel and the rear wheel. It's all quite short and from front to back.